What's good with y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordani and I help you become your greatest version. Click below, hit that subscribe button. Listen, in today's video, we're going to talk about focusing on the next step. Focusing on what's in front of us. Whenever you're pursuing something great in your life, whenever you're doing something new, you're stepping out of your comfort zone. It's challenging. You're going to feel uncertain. You're going to be met with many doubt. But I'm here to tell you to just focus on the next step. Focus on what's in front of you. I like to use this explanation. Let's say you're outside in the dark and you have a lamp. That lamp is going to illuminate the ground beneath you, right? But you're only going to be able to see as far as the light goes. You're not going to know what's 10 feet in front of you. You can only know once you start taking that next step. This could be starting a business, going to the gym, stepping out of your comfort zone and being more social, right? With any endeavor that you want to do with your life, you're going to be uncertain and you're not going to have all the answers. I'm here to tell you, you're not going to have all the answers. But what you are going to have is that next step. A lot of the times we feel like we need to have everything figured out. We got to know all the answers. But the truth is that life doesn't work like this. Life ultimately doesn't work like this. You have to have faith. You have to put your trust in God, right? Because without faith, there's no point in moving forward with what you got. Without faith, you already lost. If you don't have faith that what you're doing is going to work out, you already lost. Why are you even pursuing what you're doing? Might as well just cut your losses right then and there before even starting. You have to walk down your path. You have to walk down the path in order for the answers to come. Before you start to see success with anything great in your life, you're going to have to walk. And you're not only going to have to walk, you're also going to have to keep getting back up because you're going to get knocked down many, many, many times. I'm here to tell you that's going to happen. You're going to get knocked down many times. But if you keep getting back up and you keep walking down your path, you will succeed. I'm here to tell you, you're going to succeed. When I first started going to the gym, I didn't know what I was doing. I started off just going to the gym, lifting weights, doing whatever workout, not having a plan, not having a goal. I just got my feet wet. I just went. By me going and building that consistency, that ultimately allowed me to learn and grow. As I started going to the gym, I started to learn that you have to train at least 2 muscle groups per day. You have to progressively overload. I was a skinny kid, so I needed to gain weight. So I learned that I have to be in a calorie surplus. I also learned that muscle is 70% water. So I started drinking more water to replenish my muscles. These are things that I learned as I started going to the gym, not the other way around. I wasn't very knowledgeable before going to the gym, but it was the act of me going, the act of me already working out, the act of me already putting in the effort that led the answers to come. God is going to help you. Once you go down your path, God is going to help you. God is going to give you the answers you need. Everything is working in your favor. Everything in life happens for you, not to you. So when you walk down your path and you're uncertain, lean on God. Trust in God's plan. Everybody has a purpose. You was born on earth for a reason. Fall into that reason. Fall into that purpose that God gave you. But you can't be living through fear. You can't have doubt that it's not going to work. You can only achieve what you believe you can achieve, right? If you don't believe that you could achieve your dream, your God-given purpose, how do you expect to ever succeed? You're not going to succeed. First comes the faith and then comes the results, not the other way around. The results don't come without having faith. The results don't come if you don't believe. Believe in your path. Just keep taking that next step that you need to take. Rome wasn't built in a day. New York City wasn't built in a day. Nothing great is built in a day. You have to give yourself time and you have to trust in God's plan. God has a plan for you. The path that you're pursuing right now is his plan. But God can only help those who help themselves. God will open the door for you, but you have to walk through. You know, God is going to open the door for you, but he's not going to do the work for you, right? You have to do the work. You have to get your ass up and do what is required to become that person that you want to be, right? And that's why, even though I'm sick today, even though I really don't have a script for this video, I'm just recording today. I'm recording because I know it's helping me in the long term. I'm not focused on the short term game. You know, I'm focused more long term. I want to do this for the rest of my life, right? Why would I stop? I want to do this for the rest of my life. This is what makes me feel whole. This is what makes me feel complete. Am I confident in my abilities to achieve the goals that I have with this? Of course. Of course I do. You damn right I do. You know, I'm very confident. And I know by taking the steps that I need to take, you know, recording the videos, scripting the videos, improving my videos, improving myself, you know, personal development, I will achieve anything that I put my mind to because I've done it in the past. You know, when I was 12 years old, I wanted to figure out how to solve a Rubik's Cube. For some odd reason, that just grabbed my attention. I just wanted to figure out how this Rubik's Cube worked. How could people figure this shit out? You know, for me at that time, being 12 years old, that was the coolest shit in the world. Like, if I was able to figure out how to solve that Rubik's Cube, I'll be the coolest kid in school. And the very first thing I did was buy that Rubik's Cube. I bought the Rubik's Cube all solved in its glory. And then I scrambled the fuck out that cube because I wanted to learn how to figure this shit out, right? So I just scrambled it. Without thinking, I scrambled it because I knew in my mind, I had confidence that I was going to solve it. You know, I had confidence and I scrambled it. And then I started watching videos. I started watching videos every single day. And was it easy? It wasn't too easy. You know, I even cried. At the time, I was 12 years old. You know, this shit hard as fuck to figure out. I cried. I cried because I was met with challenges. And you're going to be met with challenges in whatever you're pursuing. But I didn't allow that challenge to stop me. I kept going. I kept learning. I kept trying to figure it out. And eventually I did. And at that time, it paid off because I used to bring the Rubik's Cube to class, to school. And it was only like 3 kids in the school that were able to solve the Rubik's Cube. And all the kids would look at us in amazement. It was the coolest shit, you know, at that time. But that's just a little story. You know, in the process of solving the Rubik's Cube and learning to solve the Rubik's Cube, I was faced with many, many, many challenges, you know, but I just didn't stop. I didn't give up. And this is what I want to tell you. When you don't stop and you don't give up on what it is that you want to do in life, you're sure to win. You're sure to win. Nothing could stop you. The only thing that could stop you is yourself. Once the mind is defeated, forget about it. You're not going to do anything. So I want you to focus on taking that next step. Just focus on what's in front of you. You don't have to have all the answers figured out, but what you do have to do is start taking action. Just start taking action. And as you keep taking action, you're going to know what's next. You're going to know what to do next, right? With that being said, if you made it this far to the video, click below, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'll see you in my next video.